if you want to succeed in life, you have to have discipline. You have to invest your time and effort into your craft. And of course, everybody knows it nowadays. And I'm not going to sit here and say that discipline does not matter. It 100% does. But in my opinion, in combination with discipline, you have to have the right type of motivation in order to propel that discipline even further, in order to create excitement and create a second drive to do what you love. And I'm not talking about any type of regular motivation. Like, you can find them on, like, just search of David Goggins motivation, and then you'll get your dose of motivation. And but the type of motivation I'm talking about is the long-term motivation. It's like this one strategy can create you the long-term motivation that occurs throughout a long period of time, and not just some short bursts of motivation. Like, you'll be really motivated one day, and the next morning you'll be on your phone scrolling on TikTok and YouTube. And what I'm talking about today is using fear as motivation. Scientists have proven that fear is one of the best factor for motivation that could help you to achieve whatever you want in life. And this is really interesting because I remember around 2 years ago, I met a friend, and one day I talked to him and I shared with him that I was so unmotivated to go to the gym every morning. I was slacking, I was being sleepy, and I just want to stay in my room, stay on my bed to sleep for the rest of the morning. And after he heard that, he offered me a challenge. He said that, would you like to participate in this challenge where if one of us didn't go to the gym on time at 7 a.m. in the morning on the next day, the person who came late had to pay the other person $100. And as soon as I heard that, I agreed immediately. And I feel this excitement in my body because I have a risk, I have a stake of losing $100. And so the next morning was so chaotic, bro. It's one of the most chaotic morning in my entire life, because usually when I woke up, I just scroll on my TikTok and YouTube and just being so, procrastinating and just don't have any motivation at all. But that morning, I just jumped straight out of my bed. I prepared myself. I ran so fast to the gym, and I made it 15 minutes early. And after 20 minutes, I waited for him. He finally came, and he lost the challenge, so he just gave me $100. But I just don't want to take other people money, so I reject it because it just feels so guilty for me for some reason. And that's when I realized that, is this the cheat code? Can I use fears as something else but itself? Like, fear is just not that scary to me anymore. And I just want to share this story because I think that is related to what I'm about to say, because it's just a really fun event that I could never forget. But there's other ways that I use fear as well, and that is to imagine that I will lose somebody if I don't try hard enough. And this might sound really extreme, but I've been using this for a pretty long time now. So let me explain, right? I have a really loving parent, and they raised me for 20 years now. They, like, all I can say that they are the best duo that have ever existed in this planet. I love them to the core of my heart. And I just thinking that they've done so many good things for me, and they are getting older, their health are declining, their functions are not, as they were used to be anymore. And what am I doing right now? Like, I'm just, living day to day, lying on my bed, scrolling on TikTok and YouTube. And I just think that I just visualize this scenario in my head where if I don't try hard enough, if I don't succeed in life, my parents will be the only one that suffers. And Imagine like one day when I was still lying on my bed scrolling on my phone, I heard a phone call. It was from my dad. No, it was from my mom, and he basically said that your dad had passed away because of a disease, and I'm just my heart just shattered at the moment, and I came back to my hometown, and then I might be crying for a few days, and then it's over. And then one morning, I just woke up in my room. I went downstairs. I saw my mom's there in the kitchen cooking for me. And, she's still smiling at me. She's still saying, "Hey, did you got a good sleep tonight, yesterday?" And I just be like normal, but I know that there's someone missing. That person that gone missing is the person that have been with me throughout my best and my worst memories, the one that took me to lots of great restaurant that I could never forget, that makes a lot of jokes and always make us laugh. And now he's not there anymore. This is my mom there. I ran there and I just hugged her, burst into tears. I cried so hard when I hugged her, bro. And she cried as well. She hugged me back, and we just stood there for like 30 minutes, and everything finally came back to normal. She's still cooking, I'm still doing my things. At this point, I still haven't realized what I've done. I haven't realized that because of my laziness, because I caused a lot of trouble, I've witnessed my loved one gone away. And you know 1 year later, as my mom is still cooking downstairs, I went down, but I just suddenly saw her, collapsing on the floor, and I ran there and I just screamed so loud, "Mom, mom, please stand up!" And I just know that she have been exhausting from raising us, because my dad is not there anymore to help her. She had to do extra work, and then one day the inevitable finally happens. Now I have no one left except for my brother. I love him so much as well. And years later, I finally realized that what I've done is just so significant that contribute to the end result of my parents. I still work a job. I still have to raise. I still raising my brother, and we still love each other so much. But things will not be the same anymore. And I've realized that because I didn't try hard when they are still there, now I have to suffer the consequences. My my motivation, my feel have gone. I've gone depressed. I've gone unmotivated. I've died inside, and we're just living day to day. End of the imagination. Whenever I think about that scenarios, bro, that is really the only motivation that I need, bro. And to you guys, I know that there are still people out there who are really cares for you. It can be your parents, it can be your relatives, it can be one of your friends from secondary school that still wishes you the best and wants you to succeed in life. But it's just that you haven't really noticing them. Maybe you haven't realized it, but everything I say here is from my intrusive thoughts. It might be wrong. It might be just blatantly wrong, because everything is just based on my personal experience. Maybe fear is not the motivation that most people needed. Maybe that's just me, but it worked for me, so I believe it will work for you as well. And like the final thing that I want to say is that they are not there for for any longer. There will be times where it will happen, and please, like, don't regret because you haven't done enough for them. don't regret that you have not taken action and actually put in more effort into your craft. Because you want to retire your mom and dad, you have to do that right now. Don't delay it any further. Stop procrastinating, get up and do the work that needed to be done. And this is the only motivation source that you ever need. Fear is one of the best motivation factors in your life, and I will say that from the bottom of my heart. Take advantage of it. Keep going. Combine it with discipline, and years later, you can thank me later. Thank you for watching. Peace.